Formula One is making a change. They are adding something called sprint qualifying. And, man, it's going to be used in 3 races this year in 2021. The first of them is going to be in Silverstone in the UK. That will be July 18th, next Sunday. And so here's how, by the way, a normal race weekend goes for me. Qualifying is on Saturday. The Grand Prix, is on Sunday. And qualifying determines the starting grid for Sunday's race, the big race on Sunday. You know this if you follow Formula One at all. And I do not normally watch very much of qualifying. I record it. I record everything in the sports world. I got YouTube TV. It's amazing. I got an unlimited DVR. So I record qualifying, and then I watch maybe the last 3 minutes of Q3 if it's interesting, if it's close, like to see who the top 10 are for the starting grid. I've also recently been watching a lot of Q2. Like I watched the end of Q2 as well because I want to see if George Russell makes it into Q3 and how it happens. He's usually been like 12th, 11th, 10th, 8th, 9th, like right at the edge of the top 10. But for the most part, I don't watch qualifying. I watch the end of Q2 sometimes and the end of Q3 sometimes. It's just not a draw, though. I mean, sometimes in the past, I have even just read the results. I mean, you can find the list online. Hey, Max was first, Lewis second, Valtteri Bottas third. Like, you can find that pretty easily. And actually, sometimes it's more accurate than watching because a guy will get a grid penalty and you won't really find out what the starting grid is till 4 hours later. So watching qualifying, the traditional qualifying, actually is either boring, unhelpful, or not that interesting. And I love racing, but that's not really racing. It's just like it's like a time trial. Well, Formula One wants to make qualifying more interesting. And I'm all for it. And I got to say, I applaud the FIA and Formula One for being willing to experiment and trying new things. So they're adding sprint qualifying. Here is how sprint qualifying works. On Friday, you have your traditional average qualifying session. You have Q1, Q2, Q3. What normally happens on Saturday will be moved back to Friday. So Friday, traditional qualifying. That determines the starting grid for Saturday. And on Saturday, you have the sprint. And the sprint here's how it works. It's a short 100-kilometer race. It's about less than a third of a normal race. So it'll be about a 25-minute, 30-minute race. And there are no mandatory pit stops. There are no mandatory tire changes. First place gets 3 points. Second place gets 2 points. And third place gets 1 point in the drivers and I think in the championship standings as well. But for the championship trophy, it's a 1, 2, or 3 championship points. But what's really cool about it is not necessarily the points. It's that the results of the sprint, the finishing order of the sprint race on Saturday becomes the starting grid for the big race, the Grand Prix, on Sunday. So it's a race that determines the starting grid of the next race. It's way more compelling of a way to do qualifying. And I absolutely love this idea. It's more racing. I love racing. My favorite sports right now, I love football. That's my favorite sport, always will be. Right now, Formula One, that's my second favorite sport. I just have to admit, I love it tremendously. I don't get any views on my Formula One videos. Like, not really. I do it because I love it. Like, I really just love the sport. And to have about a half an hour of exciting, interesting drama on a Saturday that I don't normally watch racing on, that's more of what I love. That makes me happy. And Formula One is happy because they're going to get my attention for more of the weekend. They used to get it for like 5 minutes on Saturday. I would record it, maybe pay attention, maybe not. Now they're going to guarantee, hey, I'm going to watch the sprint. That sounds awesome. And I'm going to watch on Sunday, and I'll probably see what happened on Friday. So you get at least 30 more minutes of my attention to do advertisements for me and to get market stuff at me, basically. And I'm all for, hey, you give me the product I love, racing. You can market and advertise at me all you want. And I have no doubt. I don't know what anyone. I'm pretty lucky actually to live in America, so I don't. Nobody covers Formula One in America. There's no like people in my area that I hear yelling about stuff or talking about this. It's actually hard for me to find Formula One coverage. Now the internet makes it easier, but it's certainly not in my face. I have to go out and find it. So I don't know what people are saying about sprint qualifying. I would imagine people are angry. There are a lot of purists out there. They probably call it gimmicky, and they're complaining, and I don't blame them. People hate change. I know I do too. A podcast I love just got a new host recently, and it was a jarring change for me. I don't like when things change. It's very, very difficult for me. But this is one I love. I love the idea of sprint qualifying. It sounds awesome. It sounds interesting. It's more racing. I love watching racing. And I cannot wait to watch the debut of sprint qualifying at Silverstone. It's going to be awesome. Next Sunday, July 18th, it's going to be, I guess, Saturday, July 17th. July 18th is a race. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun. A great weekend. And I'm excited to see the debut of sprint qualifying in Formula One.